Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime Local News. Saskatchewan is reporting 57 new cases of COVID-19. One of the new cases is in the northwest zone. That includes Lloydminster and North Battleford. The areas with the most new cases are in the north central with 17 and Saskatoon with 14. Most of Saskatoon's new cases are linked with outbreaks at nightclubs. 469 cases are considered active, 18 of those in our area. 17 people are in hospital, 2 of those in intensive care. 15 more people have recovered. After adjusting the timing of traffic signals along Highway 16, the city is seeing smoother travel and less congestion. Eric Bay has more.
Improving traffic times was a priority for City Council when it was elected 4 years ago, and Mayor Gerald Albers is glad to see that plan move forward. Since the adjustments were made on Highway 16, the city is hearing fewer complaints from residents.
Traffic is always a concern in our city. Certainly at that time, we were just starting to taper down, because if we go back 7 years ago, we could remember the number of trucks moving through this community in the yellow iron that was headed to Fort Mac and other places in Alberta and British Columbia.
The change is having a positive effect between 49th and 50th Avenue, where limiting traffic congestion was a priority.
We don't want to hinder business. We don't want to hinder the economy. So by having the lights work better, people are going to not be thinking, oh, that wasn't so bad, rather than, boy, I hate traveling through Lloydminster because I got to stop at every darn light. And some truckers use different language than that, and I understand that.
Next up for the city is Highway 17, where similar adjustments to the timing of the lights will be made.
Every major city faces this challenge, especially when you have a major artery, or in this way, a thoroughfare go right through the community.
The signal upgrades are expected to be finished by the end of this year. Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
Glenn Fagnan is looking to seek a second term on Lloydminster City Council. Fagnan, who has been in the community for over 30 years and is the director of Border City Connect, says that the city has done well when it comes to managing reserves and feel there needs to be more opportunities to diversify businesses.
We always have to be ready for business that we can attract, but you know, there's many different cities and municipalities throughout the country that are trying to attract those as well, so it's very competitive. So I think that we need to grow our businesses within and have them expand.
When asked on why he thinks voters should consider him, Fagnan says it's because he cares deeply about the community.
You know, I do have a true heart for the city, and I wish nothing for the best, and that's what I strive for, is trying to make our city the best community to live in Western Canada.
Fagnan plans to bring forth a crime prevention program and universal parking for individuals with disabilities. The municipal election will be held November 9th. A healthcare worker is running in the municipal election looking to become a city councillor. Sandy Barrett has worked in Lloydminster as a healthcare aide since 2000 and volunteers for various community organizations. If elected, she will work towards improving healthcare services in Lloydminster.
I know that the hospital is getting old, so we need to start thinking about either revamping the hospital or building a new hospital, maybe on the Alberta side, because I know there's some property out there. I also work in the nursing home settings, so I know that the baby boomer population will be growing and not decreasing. So we do need some more nursing homes.
Barrett would like to find ways to help support the ag and oil and gas industries get through this difficult time. Barrett hopes to see more residents getting involved in this election and making an informed vote.
So the last time that we had a turnout, it was only 30%, so I'd like that to get up to at least 50 to 60%.
The Lloydminster Public School Division's nutrition program provides meals to students on a daily basis, and in this week's Beyond the Classroom, we take a look at how they partner with the Olive Tree to help supply the schools. The nutrition program supplies food to schools across the division to help feed students who may not be getting a full breakfast or enough food at home. This program receives a lot of help from community members.
We're very fortunate to be partnering with the Olive Tree and a lot of our community partners in order to transport nearly 500 pounds of food to our schools across the division each week. It's much needed because every day hundreds of students across the division are accessing our breakfast and nutrition program. So we're very fortunate to have community partners to help us with that.
The olive tree helps provide a good portion of the food going to the schools at the beginning of the week.
The list that we get comes in over the weekend, Monday morning. We pull it up and we'll say that there's individual crackers, and we go into the back and we divvy them up for each individual school into labeled ones. So we'll have like crackers and fruit cups, cereal. Some of them will request lunch meats, the older schools. The younger schools are usually breakfast food products.
The olive tree offers other food programs throughout the week to members of the community, and being able to help the school division is something they're glad they're a part of.
We love being able to have so many food donations come into us so we can just redistribute, and like having the schools, we know that the kids are getting food.
With the COVID-19 pandemic, the nutrition program looks a bit different compared to years past. The division is hoping to offer online programs soon to help students with nutrition at home.
We're really excited this year. We get to flex a little bit with the nutrition program. I've put some recipes on our Facebook page that families can follow along. And I'm really excited that in November, we're going to do a nutrition bingo that we'll put out to all the students in the division, as well as a Zoom cooking class so that they can follow along with me and follow a recipe and cook with us.
The nutrition program also received the donation from 100 Women Who Care back in March.
You have goals, and Lakeland College can help you achieve them. Visit lakelandcollege.ca or email hello@lakelandcollege.ca.
Now our Connor Chan will take a look at your weather forecast.
Thanks a lot, Jasmine. Still sitting at -5 right now, kind of similar to what we had yesterday, but we have a little bit more sun in the area. But of course, we did see a little bit of some blue skies for today. Kind of almost looked like we were going to get some showers at one point or another, but winds right now picking up almost 30 kilometers an hour, so that's making the wind chill feel more like -12 outside right now with our current temperatures. But as we look at other temperatures in our area, we see -4s in areas like St. Paul, Marwayne, Vegreville, and Vermilion, as well as in Cold Lake, -3 as we move out west to Edmonton, -2 up in Bonnyville right now. We also see -2s in Maidstone with -4 in St. Walburg, and then -3 in Isle Cross and Meadow Lake with -1 also right now in North Battleford. And here's a look at the satellite radar map right now over the next little bit here. It's mostly in the out west that we're seeing a lot of snow. There are some snowfall warnings right now in southern Alberta and southern Saskatchewan, so areas like Lethbridge and Shaunavon as well down south. Those areas are going to be hit hard with some snow. But in terms of some snow activity we could see in our area, we could see it mostly in the Vermilion, just passing by lightly around that 6 to 7 mark, but nothing major compared to what the southern areas are going to experience. But as we look at temperatures overnight in North Battleford, -11 with cloud coverage, going into -3 tomorrow with the daytime high, still continuing those cold temperatures as we go into Cold Lake, -9 overnight, a little bit clearer skies, and then probably -3 tomorrow, with the daytime high. Feels more like -10 with that wind chill. And then for us here at Lloydminster, -11 overnight with -4 tomorrow with the daytime high, with those cold temperatures once again continuing on throughout the week here. But as we look at the next 3 days, so that wind chill tomorrow could feel more like -16 for us tomorrow, as well as into Friday as we get a high of -5 and a low of -12 there. And then we have a chance of some flurries on Saturday there with -3 the high and -15 the daytime low, with that wind chill feel more like -16. So that's probably going to be the common thing we're going to see for the next couple of days here. But that is a first look at your weather forecast. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
Welcome back. Our Connor Chan spoke with Jacqueline Weed with Big Brothers Big Sisters Lloydminster.
Well, joining us today is Jacqueline Weed from Big Brothers Big Sisters here in Lloydminster. Now, Jacqueline, I know the school year is up and running now, and I know that Big Brothers Big Sisters has mentors in schools for kids. So how much of a need is there for Big Brothers Big Sisters now that the school year is back in session?
Absolutely. So we do typically through the school year, we run in-school mentoring, which is a mentor is matched with a child in one of the schools, and they go and they meet for an hour a week. Unfortunately, with COVID and all the restrictions in place, we can't meet in person, but we can still meet virtually. So the kids can still have the connections with their mentors, which is really important to support their mental health and give them another consistent adult in their lives.
You touched on it a little bit with the mental health aspect. Between now and back in March when everything got moved to virtual/online interactions, how effective have those interactions been on the kids' mental health?
So all of our matches, our traditional matches and our in-school matches closed when school shut down, but our traditional matches continued virtually. And for a lot of our families, the comments that I received in the feedback was that they were so glad that there was still a person that could check in with them. So when they were feeling lonely, they had someone that they could connect with, spend time with, play games online. And some of the volunteers would go by and they'd have a driveway visit, so they'd drop something off for them. So still being able to make those connections and knowing that there was still things happening outside of their houses where they were isolated and by themselves, that they were included in.
Last month was Big Brothers Big Sisters month here in Canada. Does that month in particular always see an increased amount of volunteers needed during that time?
Right. So we consistently have kids on the waiting list. So nationwide, I think last month they said there's 15,000 kids that need a mentor. In our agency, it's usually around 30. Which is for both programs. And the reason why we always have a waiting list is as you match kids, there's new families that join the agency and need the services. So as we match a couple, then we get a couple more, or then their sibling joins the program, and so then you want to get them matched. So we right now have 34 children that are needing a mentor in our community, either through our traditional match program or in-school mentoring program.
I know there have been a lot of matches online and a lot of meetings online between the Big Brothers and Big Sisters and the kids. Is there still opportunities to do in-person meetings with matches in the Lloydminster building?
Right. So we can do in-person for our traditional matches. We have given our matches the option with some paperwork and some screening done ahead of time that they can meet in person, our matches for the traditional match program, or they can still meet virtually. They have the option depending on where they're at, with their bubble and their social circle and those sorts of things. Program-wise in our agency, there's a lot of restrictions and things that are in place, and we always have to consider the transmission risk. So we look at it on a month-to-month basis. But in the meantime, we have our mentors and we have our programs that way where the kids are getting the one-on-one contact, which is really important. And our in-school mentoring programs are going to be starting in the next month virtually.
And lastly, how can people volunteer if they want to volunteer to be a big brother or big sister?
So it's really easy. They can just give us a call, 306-825-5757. And we'll get them started. We can do their paperwork virtually as well. So if they're not wanting to come into the office for in-person meetings, we can do everything over Zoom or whatever platform they choose to do. So the interview, the application, all that stuff. And then they can meet with their mentee either virtually or in person. So we're pretty flexible these days. We've had to kind of adapt how we do things, but it's really easy to get involved and it's a lot of fun for the mentors and for the kids.
Well, Jacqueline, I really appreciate your time as always, and thank you very much for joining us today.
Late last week, the ACAC announced they would withdraw from all CAA national championships for the 2021 year. The CAA followed up today announcing the cancellation of national championships. Evan Kenny sat down with Al Rogan to get the details.
Joining me today is Al Rogan, the athletic director for Lakeland College. Al, thank you for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's always great to chat with you.
Now, Al, just last week, the ACAC made an announcement with AHS restrictions starting to lessen, and they made making changes to an existing plan about how the upcoming season may look. Al, do you want to just quickly break down, what some of these changes from the pre-existing plan might have been?
You bet. So probably the biggest change that was made is that as a conference, we decided that we would not be sending any teams to national championships. That's sort of the pinnacle of every athlete's season, is being able to attend nationals. We just felt that in the current environment, it just wouldn't be in the best interest of our programs to send teams out to nationals across the country, especially when we're looking at, potentially trying to figure out how we're going to run a season in our own conference, in our own province. So we made that decision. Ontario also made that decision. So I know that the CCAA will be coming out quickly, I think sometime today, announcing that there will be no national championships at all this year. So I guess in retrospect, it's probably a good decision from our conference's perspective. Also, some decisions we made were we decided that we weren't going to cancel the season at this point in time. We're still looking at the potential of having a season in January. We still haven't confirmed that will happen, but what we've done is we've given the ACAC sort of the task of trying to put something together to create a season. So their student athletes from all of our institutions have an opportunity to compete starting January.
Now,
and those are probably two. Yep.
Previous to this last week, was there still a chance that the ACACN teams were going to go to nationals, or was that really out of the question pretty early on?
It wasn't official. Like we've had a lot of sidebar conversations about would this be something realistic that we could do, and I think a lot of institutions just we're looking at it going, it just isn't realistic with the current environment, and we just haven't seen enough change as far as COVID goes to make that happen. So last week we made it official, but I don't know if it was really something that was an optimistic, realistic pursuit for any of us, even early on. But we had to make it official, and we sent that information into the CCAA last week. So.
Now, you mentioned that that 2-semester sports that would be starting in the winter, it's still uncertain what's happening there. Now, are you able to tell us, which way it's sort of leaning, what the future possibly could look like?
To be honest, I would just be guessing at this time. I think what everybody's waiting for is what the plan will be from the ACAC. I know the ACAC office is working really closely with Alberta Health. And they're sending out questionnaires to the different institutions saying, okay, what are basically deal breakers for you? What are things that you absolutely need to have for your institution to be able to compete in an ACAC league format? Once those parameters come out, I think that institutions will have to look at it from their own institution perspective and decide, does this fit inside of our procedures as far as our guidelines for COVID goes? And some institutions might decide that it works for them, and some institutions might decide it doesn't. But so, I know the office is putting together plans, and they're trying to get the best information from the conference members to sort of figure out what that plan could look like. And in the end, if it isn't something that institutions will take a risk on, then institutions will kind of be on their own to decide how they want to potentially create competitive experiences for their student athletes.
Now, final question for you, Al, taking it now closer to Lakeland here. Just earlier this month, the women's volleyball team made a donation towards the Salvation Army. Now, was this done through Lakeland College, or did these girls go off on their own and do this?
What we task all of our teams with, and these initiatives haven't changed in our new reality, is that we task all of our teams with doing stuff in the community. So whether it's putting shoe boxes together for the shoebox campaign or making donations, and we give the programs some latitude on what they want to do. So the women's volleyball team, they saw a need, and they met the need. So that was an initiative the women's volleyball team put together. And once again, when any one of our programs do something like that, we're really proud of them. They're doing it representing Lakeland College, but it was an initiative that they put together on their own, and they went out and they did. So we're hoping that we're going to see more initiatives like that from our student athletes from all of our programs. And I know there's some things in the hopper here that they've been talking about as well, different teams. So there'll probably be a few more things like that happening over the competitive season. So.
And donations from that went to women under 25 who couldn't afford feminine hygiene products. Al, thank you very much for joining me. I think it's safe to say we can all, we are all optimistic. Hopefully there will be an upcoming ACAC season.
Yeah, we're hopeful to supply a student athlete experience for our kids. And if we can do that, hopefully have people watching that. So thanks for the time, Evan.
Now our Connor Chan will take a look at your weather forecast.
Thanks a lot, Jasmine. Looking at temperatures right now, still sitting at -5 right now for our area. It gets a little bit colder as we move out further west there. So we see -8 degrees in Edson with -6s in Rocky Mountain House and Red Deer, -7 in Whitecourt with -4s in Athabasca, Jasper, and in Edmonton, -5. Also, we see up in Cold Lake right now with -1s in North Battleford and Saskatoon, -2 in Melford with -3 in Meadow Lake, and then we see 0 in Prince Albert. Up north, as we look at -4s in La Loche, Buffalo Narrows, and Uranium City, there -2 in La Roche and Flin Flon with -3 up in Wollaston Lake. -8 as we look into Grand Prairie there with -7 in Peace River and in Slave Lake as well with -5 for Fort McMurray and -4s also in high level as well. Now, let's take a look at southern Alberta and Saskatchewan. Of course, there are some areas in southern Alberta and Saskatchewan that are in a current snowfall warning, Lethbridge being one of those cities in southern Alberta that's under that warning right now, but -3 is what they're currently sitting at, along with Medicine Hat, the same temperature there. -4 is in Calgary and in Banff as well. -4 in Swift Current, Moose Jaw, -4 just in Swift Current, excuse me. We see -2 in Moose Jaw, Kindersley, Regina, and in Estevan with -1 out in Yorkton right now. Those cities that I just mentioned there, they're not under that. They don't fall in the area of the current snowfall warning for Saskatchewan. Now, as we take a look at temperatures over across the rest of the country, there's 0 degrees in Winnipeg right now with 12 in Toronto. Lots of cloud coverage continuing to mull over the cities there. 6 degrees in Quebec City with showers in Halifax at 13 degrees. 8 in St. John right now. We also see -4 up in Yellowknife with some flurries. -4 in Edmonton with those flurries. As I mentioned earlier, they're continuing on there. There's a bunch of activity. Some snow activity could be happening over the next little bit here, as we did see on the satellite radar map. 12 degrees in Vancouver with -6 right now out in Whitehorse. Now, as we look at temperatures for tomorrow, -4 is our expected daytime high for us here and around the rest of the area here at Marwayne, St. Paul, Vermilion, Maidstone, Wainwright, and Provost as well. -5s in Vegreville and Edmonton, along with Lac La Biche as well. -3 for North Battleford for tomorrow, with -3s also we see in Isle La Crosse, Green Lake, and in Meadow Lake as well. And we could see that wind chill feeling more like -16 tomorrow, and that could be the same result we see for the rest of the week there. But as we look at -5 on Friday with -3 on Saturday, with a 63% chance we could get some more snow. It looks like we could see a few days this week where we could get some more flurries. There isn't a determinant of how much flurries we could be seeing there, but -2 on Sunday with 1 degree on Monday as we get a little bit warmer, but not too much there. We're at 69% chance of some flurries on Monday, 0 on Tuesday with some cloud coverage, as well as more cloud coverage continuing on into that Wednesday with a 56% chance we could see some flurries, but a little bit warmer in the morning there as we see a -2 there for our daytime low. Of course, we've just been seeing lots of cold temperatures for the last couple of days. But that is a look at your weather for now. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
I'm pleased to be joined on Primetime Local News today by Jim Leckie from the Lloydminster region. Jim, thank you for taking the time to speak with us today.
My pleasure.
Jim, we want to start out by talking about the Legion itself. Obviously, there's been some trials and tribulations through the pandemic, and from what I understand, the actual Legion building is now for sale. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, years ago when that building was built, we had at one time about 1,200 members, and things have changed quite a bit. A lot of the World War II veterans are gone, and most of them are gone, rather. And we've had to cut back. Our membership is down, and we just cannot afford to operate that huge building anymore. So it's been listed for sale, yes.
Well, and also through the pandemic, Jim, you've had to keep the building closed, but what I understand is that the club rooms are going to reopen on a limited basis starting on Friday. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're gonna open at 3 days a week, starting out with volunteer help because we don't have the funds to support staff and so forth. But so we're operating it on Wednesday evening and Friday evening and Saturday afternoon.
And speaking of Saturday and the weekend, Jim, you guys are also going to be doing a fall supper. Tell me how that's going to work this year, because obviously, again, something else you guys have to do a little bit differently.
Yeah, they're having a fall supper on Saturday. They're having a seating for seniors starting at 4:30 in the afternoon. And you have the option of either dining in, subject to COVID regulations, seating regulations, and etc., or you can phone up and have curb service pickup for your supper.
And Jim, is this just for Legion members?
Beg your pardon?
Is the fall supper, is that just for Legion members, or is that for anybody to enjoy?
No, it's for anybody that wants to participate. It's open.
And do they just contact the Legion to sign up for that then?
Yeah, they just phone the Legion. I think the number is 306-825-2521, and you can order when you want to pick up your meal, and it'll be ready for you.
Well, the other thing, Jim, now is obviously we're getting closer to Remembrance Day, so the Poppy campaign is going to be starting. How are you guys tackling the Poppy campaign this year?
Well, the Poppy campaign, in other years, we've been able to use the Air Cadets to sell poppies. This year, we're down to our own membership and volunteers, so we're looking for volunteers to sell poppies on next Saturday, the 31st. Is Poppy Day here in Lloydminster. And of course, all the Poppy Day funds are used to support veterans and their families in the community and for other worthwhile community projects. So those funds are used outside of the Legion operation. They're specifically for community service and support of veterans and their families.
And if people want to volunteer, Jim, what's the best way to sign up for that?
Well, if you wanted to volunteer for Poppy Day, I think just call in at the Legion on, any time that it's open, and just leave your name, and they'll make sure that they'll put you to work.
Well, and after Poppy Day, of course, comes Remembrance Day. And Jim, unfortunately, this year, because of COVID, it's forced changes to the regular service that the Legion does as well. So what is the plan for November the 11th this year?
Well, we can't, of course, have the community service. So we're going to have a service in the Legion with the color party and the bugler and so forth, and have the act of remembrance. And it's going to be taped and carried on Facebook, I believe, for anybody that wants to watch it.
And I understand you've also done something special for the schools as well. You've managed to get a presentation together, because normally you guys would be able to go into schools, but again, that's not possible. So how is that working this year, Jim?
Well, normally we would go out to the schools and do an act of remembrance and talk about remembering the fallen people in the world wars. But this year we can't do that because of the pandemic. So we are in the process of making a tape of the act of remembrance and so forth. And that tape is going to be given to all the schools so the children can watch it.
Well, Jim, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate it. You guys have had to do so many workarounds this year with everything going on. So we wish you success in everything that happens. And again, just reminding people to call in and either volunteer for Poppy Day, or if they want a really great meal this Saturday, they can call and sign up to be ready for the fall supper as well. So you guys have done a great job of all this, Jim, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. The Legion needs all the help we can get. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jim, and you have a good day.
I'm speaking with Sierra Bennett of the Lloydminster Youth Council today. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm very good. So can you kind of give me a better understanding of what the Lloydminster Youth Council is all about?
So the Lloydminster Youth Council, what we do is we try to advocate for things, give youth a voice in our community, and just also put together events that are safe for the youth to participate in. And yeah, we just like to get to know each other, get the youth to know each other, and everything like that.
And on Monday evening was the 5th swearing-in ceremony. What was all involved in that, especially with COVID involved this year?
So we all social distance and we made sure to follow like proper safety precautions and everything, but it was still really, really good. Everyone was able to make it. This year we actually have 23 youth on the council, which is amazing. And there were multiple people involved. There was Stephanie Monroe was there, Constable Kurtzinger was there, Kim Tradewell was there, as well as a few other people. And it was just really nice to have everyone in the same room and just to get to know everyone and just see everyone kind of make their way in.
Why is the swearing-in ceremony so important for the Youth Council?
Well, it's just a really formal and official way to like show everyone who has like applied and who got interviewed and who made it onto the council that, oh wow, like you're a part of this council. So it's just more official kind of, and it's really like it's a really good feeling.
And what is the Lloydminster's Youth Council's plans in the future with the youth this year, especially having to deal with the pandemic?
So right now we're trying to plan COVID safe events, and we're also looking into advocating for a few more things. This year we're kind of taking a different approach compared to previous years because of COVID. So we're going to be making quite a few videos and kind of things like that to spread awareness for certain things. So yeah.
Now, was the Lloydminster Youth Council shocked to see how many youth actually came in to be a part of the council for this year?
Yeah, I was really shocked. I did interviews and I looked at all the applications and everything, and I saw how many people applied. I was like so happy. Like it's just such a good feeling that so many youth want to be involved in this. And it just gives us like more hope for the future because like there's a lot of kids on this council who like we really want just a better future for everyone, and we think that this is our way of doing it. So I was really happy to see everyone kind of apply and just come to the swearing-in ceremony. It was really nice to see how the youth council has evolved compared to the first year to now. So yeah.
Now, compared to previous years, have there been lots of support from youth with this council?
So I have been on the youth council for 2 years, and like this is my second year. And in my 2 years, like I've seen like so much support. Like when we put on events, people come and they have a good time, and that's just what we want to see. We want to see people have a good time, be safe and everything, and it's just great to see how many people show up. And then for advocating things, everything, like everyone on the youth council comes and they apply themselves and they advocate for that and they spread the word and they raise awareness, and it's just really nice to see everyone participate.
And how can residents help support the youth council?
So people could probably support us just by just kind of acknowledging that we're there and maybe telling their kids about it and having their kids like come to our events or even apply for the youth council if they're in the right age range. And yeah, as far as I know, that's probably some of the best ways to support us.
Thanks so much for joining me today again, Sierra.
Yeah, thank you so much for interviewing me. I really appreciate it.
All right, taking one last look here at your weather forecast. -4 for tomorrow, -5 on Friday, as we are going to get some the cold temperatures continuing on with that wind chill, feeling more like -16, as well as on for Saturday. We could see that same result, but also a chance of some more flurries there, as well as some flurries on other days this week. -2 on Sunday, 1 degree on Monday with some flurries as well. 0 on Tuesdays. We kind of get a little bit warmer in the daytime with our highs there, and then -2 the low there for Wednesday. It's one of the warmest warmer mornings we would have had in a long time if it all goes according to plan there. So as we take a look at the averages, averaging usually around 8 degrees for our daytime high, averaging around -3 for our daytime low. But of course, that hasn't been the case. We've been getting fairly colder over the last several days with fairly cold temperatures throughout the day as well.
Thanks for joining us on Primetime Local News. Have a great night.